Okay, so we've got a really interesting mix of stuff to dive into today. Articles, some Reddit threads. You're clearly fascinated by like everything from the ocean to, well, what goes on inside our cells.
Yeah, it's a great selection, really shows the breadth of biology.
It does. So, one Reddit post stood out to me, someone asking about life out in space in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy, right? But I'm curious.
Yeah, that's a question that always gets people thinking. I mean, space, it's harsh, right? No air, no pressure, radiation everywhere. To us, it doesn't seem like any kind of place for life.
Not for life as we know it, you mean?
Exactly. But then you've got these things called extremophiles here on Earth,
Hmm.
living in places we once thought were totally impossible.
Oh, right. Those microscopic adventurers like boiling hot springs, the freezing Arctic, that kind of thing. Those extremophiles.
Those are the ones like tardigrades, those microscopic creatures. They're also called water bears sometimes, or moss piglets. Adorable, right? But tough. You expose them to extreme temperatures, radiation, even the vacuum of space. They just hit pause.
Hit pause, like
Yeah,
on their whole system.
pretty much. It's called cryptobiosis. Everything slows down, almost stops. They can stay like that for years, then spring back to life when conditions are good again.
Wow. Okay. So if they can survive space, does that mean there could be even tougher life out there? Like stuff we haven't even imagined.
It's a possibility. Extremophiles show us that life can exist in ways we barely understand. Finding it, though, that's tough. Space is huge. It'd be like finding a needle in, well, a cosmic haystack.
Incredible. But while we're waiting for aliens to show up, let's talk about something else amazing. Our cells. This article about the 2024 Nobel Prize, it's for the discovery of microRNA, and it sounds like a big deal.
Huge. MicroRNAs, they're tiny, but they control how our genes work. Imagine a dimmer switch, right? They can fine-tune the production of proteins, which do all the heavy lifting in our cells.
I'm trying to picture it. So before microRNA, we thought genes were just on or off, like a light switch.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hmm.
But microRNA, it adds a whole level of control we never knew about.
So how does it work? Are they like the stage managers in our cells deciding which genes get to be in the spotlight?
Perfect analogy. So you've got messenger RNA, right? Carries instructions from DNA to the ribosomes where proteins are made. MicroRNA can attach to this messenger RNA.
Yeah.
Sometimes it blocks the instructions completely, no protein made. Other times it's like adjusting that dimmer, controlling how much protein gets made.
Okay, so not just on or off, but like a whole range of settings. No wonder it won a Nobel Prize.
For sure, revolutionized how we see gene regulation. Opened up new research into, well, almost everything. How cells grow, development, diseases, the works.
Speaking of which, this Reddit thread you sent, it's about the ethics of animal research, specifically snails. Always a tough topic.
It is. I mean, animal research has led to so many breakthroughs in medicine, in understanding how life works. But we have to think about the ethical side, make sure animals are treated humanely. It's a balance.
This person was struggling with the idea of euthanizing snails at the end of a study, shows how difficult those choices can be.
Definitely. Researchers are human too. These decisions weigh on them. There are strict guidelines, of course, to make sure animals are treated ethically, but it's an ongoing discussion, finding alternatives like computer models, that kind of thing.
Finding that balance is so important. Okay, ready for a total shift. This Reddit post about DNA, it says size matters, but not how we usually think.
Right. This is about the C-value paradox, and it really messes with our heads a bit. We tend to assume, bigger, more complex creatures, they should have bigger genomes, more genes for all that complexity. But then you've got Paris japonica, this plant.
With 50 times the DNA per cell than a human, that's a whole lot of genetic code for, well, a plant.
Exactly. Turns out the amount of DNA, it's not always about complexity. That's the paradox. Early on, scientists were comparing genomes, and they found some simple organisms with huge genomes, way bigger than more complex ones. It was a head scratcher.
So what's the deal? If it's not about cramming in more genes, why have so much extra DNA?
A lot of it, and this is true even in our DNA, is repetitive sequences. Like the same code over and over doesn't seem to do anything.
So like having a whole page in an instruction manual that just says refer to page 1 on repeat seems wasteful.
It's not entirely useless. We're figuring that out. Some of it probably helps control which genes are active, like volume knobs or on-off switches. Other parts might be leftovers, ancient viruses that inserted their code, or just remnants from evolution.
A mix of control panels and like genetic fossils then. We're still figuring out this whole DNA thing, huh?
Oh, absolutely. This non-coding repetitive DNA, that's a huge area of research. It could tell us more about evolution, how genes are controlled, maybe even how life itself started. Who knows what we'll find?
I love that there's always more to discover. Okay, switching gears a bit, this article you shared, it said bright colors on animals, they're often a warning sign, right? Like danger.
Exactly. It's a signal of predators, usually. Think about poisoned dart frogs. Their colors practically scream, don't even try it.
Works on me, I'd steer clear. But then we've got brightly colored fruits, and we love those. What's the evolutionary reason there?
It's a great point, and it shows how evolution uses similar tricks in different ways. With fruits, those bright colors are like advertisements. When a fruit ripens, it changes color, often to these bright reds, oranges, yellows, right? That's a signal to animals, hey, I'm tasty, come eat me.
So it's a win-win. Animals get a meal, plants get their seeds spread around. Evolution's kind of amazing when you think about it.
Totally. It's called coevolution in this case. Both sides benefit from this colorful communication. Shows that even something simple, like the color of a fruit, has a whole story behind it.
It really shows you, like nature's got its own language, right? And we're just starting to understand it.
Exactly. And sometimes that language can be used to trick you. Think about mimicry. Some harmless animals, they've evolved to look like dangerous ones, same colors and all.
Oh, right. Like a moth that's all bright and colorful, but it's just copying a poisonous butterfly. Sneaky. Exactly. Shows you the power of natural selection, how it comes up with these amazing adaptations. It's a reminder that even if we can't see it, there's this whole battle for survival going on and passing on those winning traits.
It's mind-blowing when you think about how many different species are out there, each with its own story.
It really is. And every time we think we've figured something out, there's a new question, something else to discover.
That's what I love about this stuff. So I think we've covered a lot of ground here, from alien life to the secrets in our DNA, even why nature's so colorful.
It's been a great deep dive. Really makes you appreciate the complexity of it all, you know?
For sure. Well, this has been fascinating, but I get the feeling we'll be back for more of these deep dives soon. There's always something new to learn about, right?
Absolutely. Keep asking those questions. That's what it's all about.